He glanced around, thinking to himself how fiercely loyal a dog Sungchul truly was. Even though it was late at night, Sangchul made his way directly to Ma Jiangrok's location as soon as he returned to reality. Having already confirmed the place, he decided to leave quickly, knowing that staying there too long might arouse suspicion. He called a cab and, while waiting, couldn't help but notice a peculiar coincidence. Co Aaron, a celebrity backed by Jiangrok, happened to live in the same apartment complex as he did. He recalled to himself that he needed to thank his younger brother. If they hadn't handed out rice cakes, he would never have crossed paths with Aaron or uncovered the connection between Sungchul and her. Just as he was about to open the taxi door, he had a sudden thought: perhaps he could use this neighborly relationship to his advantage to gain Jiangrok's trust. Still, he needed to decide whether bringing Jiangrok into the fold for the 20th round was the right move. He was well aware of Jiangrok's possession of the Dark Knight rune, a powerful item that essentially functioned like a cheat. However, he also knew its limitations. Without an advancement rune, Jiangrok would have to progress as a basic knight first. Moreover, to unlock the true potential of the Dark Knight, like the Dark Aura ability, Jiangrok would need to accumulate dark mana, a unique type of energy that couldn't be obtained through conventional means. It seemed suited for someone with a twisted hobby, like Jiangrok. Ryu Min mused that having a comrade with a psychopathic streak could be dangerous. For now, he decided to keep Jiangrok as a potential candidate but planned to exploit his usefulness as much as possible. He also noted that there were other promising players, like a girl he had seen with a unique green energy aura. Upon reaching his apartment, Ryu Min resolved to head out at dawn to begin his work. Later that day, at a local convenience store, the cashier seemed conflicted, clearly worried about something. He was anxious, fearing that their sales might plummet by 50%. Just then, his daughter arrived. He greeted her with a warm smile. Juri asked her father why he seemed so troubled. He explained that the store's lottery ticket sales had come to a complete halt. Curious, Julie asked why this had happened so suddenly. Her father sighed and told her that while the government had provided a reasonable-sounding explanation, it seemed like they were blaming the players for the downturn. The government admitted that they had no way of gauging the skill levels of the players. Julie recalled reading about a man who had won the lottery 4 times in a row. Her father sighed and added that rising labor costs and rent were already making things tough, and now he wasn't sure how to manage. Julie tried to reassure him, saying she would help out as soon as she graduated. She even wondered aloud whether taking on a part-time job would help them make ends meet. Her father quickly dismissed the idea, urging her to focus on her studies instead. He promised to handle the financial worries himself, reminding her that her goal of becoming a doctor was more important. Praising her for her good grades, he asked if she still planned to go to college. Julie hesitated, then confessed that she had given up on that dream. She explained that, in light of the current situation, education seemed pointless. Her father, seeing her determination, gave in. He admitted that the uncertainty of the next round was weighing heavily on him and that money was not the main concern. Apologizing for being so distracted lately, he admitted he had a lot on his mind. Julie squeezed his hand and assured him there was no need to apologize. She smiled warmly and told him she was okay, saying, "Guess what? I made it through the second round and even got myself a class." Her father looked at her with surprise and curiosity. Julie raised her hand in front of his forehead, and suddenly, green circles of light began to glow around her. Her father stared in astonishment as his body started to emit a faint green glow. He asked, bewildered, "What did you just do?" Julie grinned and explained, "It's a skill called Bless that I got when I earned the buffer class. It slightly boosts your stats and has a refreshing effect." Her father's face lit up with joy as he felt a rush of energy coursing through him. He praised her for her skills, saying he truly did feel more invigorated. Julie promised she would use this skill on him regularly to help him feel better. Encouraging him to lift his spirits, she gave him a playful nudge. Just then, the door to the convenience store swung open. A man stepped inside. Julie noticed the recognition in her father's eyes. She leaned in closer and whispered, "Dad, do you know that man who just walked in?" Her father nodded slightly, his expression a mix of curiosity and caution. The man was none other than Ryu Min, who had just entered the store, seemingly aware of the attention he was drawing. Julie's father informed her that the man who had just walked in was the first-place winner, the one who accurately picked the winning numbers on every tickets. As he approached the counter, Ryu Min greeted him with a familiar smile, asking if he remembered him. He continued, mentioning that he was the person who had bought 101 lottery tickets. Recognizing him, the man at the counter nodded and asked why he had come back. Ryu Min's expression shifted, and he took a deep breath before speaking. Apologizing, He admitted he had seen the news about how the sale of NATO lottery tickets had been halted after he won first place twice. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble for your shop," he said sincerely, "and I'm truly sorry for any harm I've unintentionally caused." Julie observed the entire interaction, noticing the genuine regret in his tone. The shopkeeper reassured Ryu Min, saying, "It's not your fault. We'll manage, even without the lottery sales." However, Ryu Min continued, rummaging through his bag as he spoke, "I know it's not entirely my fault, but I still feel responsible. I want to help in some way, even if it's just a small gesture." He pulled out an envelope and slid it across the counter. The shopkeeper glanced at the envelope, puzzled, and asked, "What's this?" Ryu Min calmly replied, "There's 10 million won in there." Both Julie and her father were shocked by the amount. The man quickly refused, but Ryu Min insisted, urging them to accept it. Before they could respond, he turned and left the store. Staring at the envelope, Julie's father seemed overwhelmed by the sudden offer. Without hesitating, Julie volunteered to return it. Taking the envelope, she dashed out of the store, calling out for Ryu Min to stop. He paused and turned to face her, his expression curious. As she caught up, Julie introduced herself, noting that they were in the same class. Ryu Min raised an eyebrow, feigning surprise. "I'm sorry, I'm not great with faces," he replied, clearly lying. He knew exactly who Julie Min was, the daughter of the convenience store owner, and someone with the unique buffer class. Still, he maintained his polite demeanor as if meeting her for the first time, masking his awareness with a well-practiced calm. When Ryu Min first realized that Julie had been in his class in the past, he was genuinely taken aback, feeling as if fate had intertwined their paths for a reason. He had originally approached her under the guise of coincidence, aiming to subtly persuade her to see things from his perspective. Julie, sensing his intentions, invited him to talk privately. Ryu Min agreed, and soon they found themselves sitting on a park bench under a clear, brilliant blue sky. Julie handed the envelope back to him. "Is this the money I just gave you?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. Julie firmly insisted that he take it back, saying, "We can't accept such a large amount." Ryu Min knew that 10 million won was indeed a significant sum, and he had anticipated they might refuse it. He had given it with this in mind, aware that Julie was the type who could not tolerate any debt, regardless of her situation. Holding the envelope, she added with a sigh, "Just take it, my arm is starting to hurt." Ryu Min, however, declined, explaining, "I feel responsible for any trouble I've caused, which is why I offered it in the first place. It's the least I can do to ease my conscience." Julie countered, saying, "But that's way too much." Ryu Min responded calmly, "No matter the amount, I still want you to accept it. If you don't, it'll bother me for a long time." Julie protested again, "It's too burdensome and excessive." Ryu Min smiled slightly, knowing this was precisely why he insisted on giving it to her. He suggested she send a message to the store owner, adding, "To me, it's not that much money, so please don't feel pressured to refuse it." Julie shot back, "Why are you always so stubborn?" Just as Ryu Min stood up to leave, she called out, "Wait." She continued, "I'll take 1 million won, but 10 million is far too much." Ryu Min paused, intrigued, and asked, "And how can you make that decision for him? You should talk to the owner." Julie replied, "Trust me, my father would find accepting such a large amount awkward." Ryu Min feigned surprise. "Your father owns the convenience store," he said, tilting his head. "I had no idea." He admitted that he frequently visited the store, finding this coincidence strangely fascinating. As Julie studied him, she couldn't help but feel that there was more to his intentions than he was revealing. Julie acknowledged that she found the situation quite fascinating as well, especially since her classmate turned out to be the first NATO winner. The word "friend" seemed to catch Ryu Min off guard. Julie then asked if he genuinely hadn't realized she was in his class all this time. Introducing herself, she mentioned that she recognized him the moment he entered the convenience store. Ryu Min, feigning a sheepish grin, replied, "This is actually our first real conversation. Sorry, I'm not really great with remembering faces." Julie's expression shifted to a slight frown, feeling a bit deflated that he only now seemed to know her name. Noticing her reaction, Ryu Min quickly apologized again. Julie blushed, remaining silent, while Ryu Min felt a twinge of guilt for pretending not to know her, though he knew he needed to act this way to keep her intrigued. Julie stood up and firmly reintroduced herself as Julie Min, stepping closer to him. "That's my face," she stated, her eyes meeting his. "Will you remember it now?" Ryu Min smiled warmly and nodded, his expression sincere. Julie's cheeks reddened further, and she found herself momentarily speechless, realizing how peculiar it felt to be formally introducing herself to a classmate so close to graduation. Sensing her unease, Ryu-min gently said, I knew who you were, at least a little. And graduation doesn't have to mean losing contact. He then asked for her phone number. Julie, caught off guard, hesitated. Is it wrong to ask? He inquired with a playful smile. I don't think it's strange to ask a classmate for their number. Blushing, Julie nodded and reached for his phone, quickly typing in her number before handing it back. Thank you, Ryu-min replied, adding, it seems like fate brought us together, so we should stay in touch. Julie stammered a bit before agreeing. Ryu-min then mentioned he needed to leave, explaining that he had something urgent to attend to. As he walked away, Julie realized she still held the envelope. She called after him, wait, but he simply waved back, continuing on his way without turning around. In the end, Julie couldn't bring herself to return the envelope. Her thoughts drifted to how Ryu-min had asked for her number, causing her face to flush as she clutched her chest, her heart still racing. She knew he only intended to be friends, but her feelings for him were too overwhelming to control. She thought back to when they had first met by chance. She had witnessed something involving him and had reported it to the police, feeling compelled to see the matter through, unsure whether she had done the right thing. Wanting to ensure he got home safely, she had decided to follow him. But when she saw him carrying on with his part-time job as if nothing had happened, she realized he was much stronger than he appeared. That was the moment she first became intrigued by him. However, she lacked the courage to approach him. As time passed, her feelings grew stronger, making it even harder for her to confront him directly. She never expected that they would meet again like this. Julie decided to be brave this time, considering it a rare opportunity that fate had handed her. With the envelope of 10 million won still in her pocket, she could no longer pretend she didn't know him. She wondered if she should invite him to dinner and smiled to herself. Meanwhile, Ryu-min was lying in bed, texting. Julie had just invited him to lunch. He replied that he was free and offered to cover the cost, but Julie insisted on paying. He hadn't expected her to be so quick to offer to buy him a meal. He had assumed she might feel indebted to him. This development was promising. It would be easier to make her an ally if they naturally became friends. He decided that, come the 20th round, he would make sure to save her. As Ryu-min emerged from his room, Ryu-won was sitting on the couch. Where are you headed? Ryu-won asked. Ryu-min replied, I'm meeting a friend. A friend? Ryu-won watching TV. Is this friend a woman? Ryu-min smirked and asked, why, can't I meet women? Ryu-min casually mentioned to his younger brother, Ryu-won, that he would be heading out for lunch. Ryu-won, surprised, quickly realized that his brother might be going on a date. Later, at a steakhouse, Ryu-min and Julie met up. As they settled down, Ryu-min asked if she liked steak. When Julie replied that she did, he encouraged her to eat plenty, causing her to blush. She found it hard to believe that she was sharing a meal alone with him, one of the best days she could remember. For a while, they ate in silence, and Julie felt the atmosphere growing awkward. Feeling the need to break the ice, she asked about his 4 consecutive NATO lottery wins. Ryu-min casually replied that he had gotten lucky after seeing the numbers in a dream, a claim she found hard to believe. Curious, she asked how much money he made from his lucky streak. He joked that he wouldn't have to worry about money for the rest of his life but added more seriously that his real concerns were more about survival than wealth. Julie then shifted the conversation to their experiences in the first round of the game. She asked how difficult it had been for him to kill goblins. He replied that it had taken quite a while. When she asked which region he was in, he confessed he couldn't remember much but thought his region ended in the number 5. Julie told him her region ended at 7 and lamented that they couldn't cross into each other's territories in the other world. Ryu-min reassured her, explaining that as the number of survivors decreased, the regions would eventually merge. She then asked about his level, and he revealed he was at level 10, which she noted matched her own. Curious, she inquired about his class. Ryu-min responded that he didn't have a class yet. Julie mentioned that she was fortunate enough to acquire a class change item. Feigning ignorance, Ryu-min asked, a buffer? Is it like giving buffs in a game? Secretly, he was pleased to hear she was a buffer. It fit perfectly with his plans. Julie excitedly offered to show him her skill, explaining that her buff, Bless, boosted all stats slightly. Ryu-min, intrigued, said he would love to see it. With a smile, Julie activated her buff, eager to impress him. When Julie extended her hand, a green pattern appeared in the air before her, glowing softly. A notification window popped up, indicating that the blessing would last for 3 hours and that all of Ryu-min's stats had increased by 50%. He expressed his admiration for her skill, thinking to himself that it was a remarkable effect for a special talent. He also realized that once Julie reached her maximum level, the effectiveness of her ability could double, enhancing the buff to a total of 100%. That is, of course, if she managed to level up to the highest point. Regardless, he was pleased to have the buff, especially since meeting her had served that exact purpose. Ryu Min remembered the random gold pouch he had won as a reward for completing his first-class change subquest. The pouch contained a random amount of gold, determined by his luck stat. The higher his luck, the more gold he would receive. He thanked her, stating that the effects of the buff were impressive. Julie beamed and said he only had to ask if he ever needed another buff, reassuring him that casting it was effortless for her. Sensing there was more she wanted to say, he asked what else she had on her mind. Julie hesitated briefly before thanking him again for the 10 million won he had offered. She added that her father was also grateful and wanted to convey his thanks. However, Ryu Min sensed there was something more, so he probed gently, "Is that really all you wanted to say?" She shook her head slightly and explained that she had been thinking of something else. Reaching into her bag, she pulled out a glowing object. Curious, Ryu Min asked what it was. Julie explained that she had found the item while hunting, and since he refused the money, she wanted him to at least accept this as a token of her appreciation. She insisted he take it, making it clear that she was sincere and wouldn't take no for an answer. They finished their meal, and Julie suggested they meet again sometime. Ryu Min nodded in agreement, advising her to stay safe in the upcoming round. She eagerly agreed, saying they should continue surviving and meeting at the park. After she left, Ryu Min was alone. He pulled up his inventory screen and inspected the object Julie had given him. It was a low-quality purple magic crystal, not particularly valuable but potentially useful. The crystal Julie gave him was a delicate, stunning purple stone with a faint mana aura. Ryu Min hadn't expected her to gift him something like this. When he removed it from his inventory, he noted the brief description, which didn't offer much insight into its properties. He had no idea what the crystal could actually do. However, he knew that at level 20, the combination function would unlock, allowing players to fuse magic crystals with weapons, and he suspected that this particular item would be of great value at that point. The combination feature would not only allow him to merge the crystal with a weapon, but also grant additional enhancements. There were 7 types of magic crystals, each with a different color representing a specific attribute: red for damage, orange for strength, yellow for luck, green for dexterity, blue for intelligence, dark blue for damage reduction, and purple, the rarest of all, for boosting all stats. The purple crystal had the lowest chance of appearing, making it incredibly valuable. Ryu Min felt fortunate to have acquired the crystal so easily. It was a testament to his high luck stat in real life. He decided he would save it until he reached level 20, when he could truly unlock its potential. Glancing at his screen, he noticed the bless effect still had 30 minutes left. He debated whether to open the gold pouch before the buff expired but realized he first needed to make use of his butcher rune to maximize his stats. The rune had a unique function: every time it killed a living entity, including something as small as an insect, it would increase all his stats by 1%. Since there were no insects to hunt in the alternate world, he had to kill monsters there, but the real world had no such restriction. He opened his bag and pulled out a plastic packet filled with 100 mealworms. Feeling a bit guilty, he placed the packet on the floor and apologized to the small creatures before raising his foot to crush them. A notification appeared, displaying a kill count of 45 out of 100, which resulted in a 45% boost to all his stats from the butcher rune. Moments later, another window popped up showing the kill count had reached 67, raising his stat boost to 67%. Each update confirmed the rune's effects, steadily enhancing his abilities as he continued. Ryu Min continued using the butcher rune until his kill count surpassed 100. With that, the rune's effect maximized, boosting all his stats by 100%. Opening his status window, he noticed his luck stat had climbed to 45 points. Feeling confident about his chances, he decided it was the perfect time to use the random gold pouch he had stored in his inventory. The random gold pouch was a rare consumable item, capable of yielding anywhere from 1 to 9,999 gold, but it had to be used before the next round. The amount received was directly influenced by the user's luck stat, so with his current luck boost, Ryu Min felt optimistic. He had used similar pouches before, and his luck had usually netted him between 300 to 600 gold. This time, however, he hoped for an even better outcome. He held his breath and used the pouch, his eyes locked on the notification window that appeared. To his shock and delight, the alert showed he had received the maximum amount, 9,999 gold. A wide grin spread across his face. The bless effect had indeed paid off. Checking his total gold, he now had 16,249, a substantial amount, more than enough to purchase an epic item. However, since the specific item he wanted wouldn't be available for another 2 weeks, he decided to save the gold for now. Back at the apartment, Ryu-min announced his return. His younger brother, Ryu-1, looked up from his smartphone and eagerly approached him. "So, how did your date go?" Ryu-1 asked, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Ryu-min gave him a puzzled look. "What date?" he replied, pretending not to understand. "You know, with that girl you were meeting," Ryu-1 teased. Ryu-min waved him off. "Stop talking nonsense. What did you have for lunch?" Ryu-1 shrugged. "Just ordered black bean noodles." Ryu-min chuckled. "You should have treated yourself to something better." Ryu-1 frowned, confused. "What's wrong with noodles? I felt like eating them." Ryu-min nodded thoughtfully, remembering that just a month ago, they could barely afford such small luxuries. It was a reminder of how quickly things could change. We must conclude for today. If you enjoyed this part and want to see what happens next, please like and subscribe. Thank you.